This is a very short video, but it's concerning what's been going on with the attacks by the United States Navy my entire life and the prison industrial complex. How these two are interlinked. Now, these Ann Kamala Harris, who's made her career by locking up black men, showing her toughness, so to speak. I just looked up tried to find a market cap for the prison industrial complex in total. But did state that the United States spends $80 billion a year locking human beings away. The top couple of prison industrial complex companies that run the private prisons making about $1.5 billion, $2 billion each. So that's $6 to $8 billion. Plus all the ancillary, the overpriced phone calls, the bad food, all the things that should be taken care of by taxpayer dollars, and funded by taxpayers. I mean, they are funded, but I mean controlled, not controlled by the private prisons. And we know BlackRock and these companies cross ownership of the music industry. So it creates a cultural position, behavior that is mimicked within the Black American community. And I saw that when I was over in Orlando at the bus station. First one time I was just going to a store, I didn't realize I was in the hood. Some dude's creeping up behind me to see if he can get close enough to steal from me. Right? And then another time, second time I was there, I realized, okay, I'm in the hood, and it looked like I'm not paying attention, but I was actually not paying attention. And I called this other guy out. He was looking at me. He's like, "Look, dude, you're looking at me, whatever." Ended up, I was like, "Yeah, I get it. You grew up in the hood. You think I'm not paying attention." But all the behaviors that Black Americans do that are necessary to live in such a violent place, because the violence first imposed from the outside and then self-imposed because there's not any men, because the prisons, they emasculate each other out of a dominance, and then they use the homosexuals. Before I care less about the homosexuals, they're just like, okay, they're just weird people. I didn't realize how violent they really are. And the behavior sets of the IEAP, it externalized antagonistic person. Or the extent the security services are used to destroy the heterosexual male. I say all this because right now, they're using my brother, they're putting his family in danger. And then they're also saying, well, if I don't do what they tell me, what they want me to do, they're going to kill me. Here's the thing. The only way out of this for me is up. If I don't go up, I'm dead. So it's not my best interest. And two, just outside of just that, the indignity of them stealing my life, because the thing they fear the most about me is as I've said, I've done nothing wrong. I actually just wanted to work and do my business. Me being successful, and success by my terms, because if you look at what they've done to Black Americans. They always have to be in these narrow realms of what they can and can't do. Me being successful meant me just going snowboarding, mountain biking, living my life, going around the world, doing whatever, which is what the younger generation is doing now, kind of. But for those older bigots, that's a threat. It's a threat to their business model, more than importantly. And then it's a threat to their psychopathy. Because as we now know, because of the psychological theories, which can be not so much of a theory anymore, bigotry is psychopathy, applied psychopathy, and applied narcissism. And, probably applied borderline because it's the same cluster B. It's still that externalization of the shadow self. And what they're trying to do right now is keep me from making money, keep me indignified, and then keep Black Americans from joining with European Americans to regain power and control over this country again. And then you have this purple revolution, so to speak, which where MAGAs go, oh yeah, Trump really is a bad person, duh. But they think they're going to come back in and be like, let's show you how to do it. Oh, you did. And Harris is still doing these false associations with the homosexuals. She's using Kirby, who's a great artist, to put into the minds of Black Americans, oh, you ain't one of us. No, I've never said I'm one of you. I'm Jamaican American. Because there's one thing they always keep going, you got to be Black, you got to be. No, that's a cultural identification, a cultural behavior set that I'm not part of. Yes, I'm African American, and yes, to deal with things with the same bigotry and stupidity of idiots. But I don't have, and yes, I even have the cultural understanding of hundreds of years because I'm Afro-Caribbean, of the slave trade, but I'm also culturally different. And I'm not going to give up my culture to be Black American. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can respect a culture, or I can respect somebody, but I don't have to give up my respect. Because if I was to give up my respect, that's a disrespect to me. That's a dominance. Once again, these dominance plays are not necessary. And they don't want that type of thinking, more expansive thinking, to infect their free labor force. Because that's what all the prison labor industrial complex is about. It's creating free labor and destroying Black Americans, because it's always started to the African American man. And then they use that, you have these European Americans. I always find it funny, the ones who are acting all tough and yeah, I'm tough and I'm gonna tell you what. It's like, you ain't telling me jack, and I can tell you're really not that tough, but we'll go with that for the moment, So, and also the Navy for what it's done, how it's violated Americans' rights, and how it's assassinated and killed its own sailors. And then there's absolutely horrifically horrible leadership, because they're not really leaders. It's pure psychopathy. So, and, McRaven and Olson are trying not to go to jail, so I can understand that. But they have to choose. They said they swore an oath to the Constitution. That means if they want even a slight bit of a pardon, which is why they're trying to get Harris back in, and she's just there to screw over Black Americans. I hate to say it that way, but, whatever. Biden, that's who he really is. Fucking pathetic. Just fucking pathetic. Anyway, that's all I have. I yada enjoyed it. I yada. Oh yeah, and today I confirmed that Trump is watching because he waited until I put a trade on, thinking he can get me with slippage. When he did it, when he sent out his tweet, and yesterday morning, the amount of drugs they pumped into my system was just like horrific. So I knew I wasn't really trading because I was like, yeah, I'm done. So fortunately, nothing happened. At least not in the negative. So back to this, as I begin, as I said in the very beginning, my choices are fairly simple. Up, which means complete the task set out. Because the other thing they're trying to do is forces of beer. They're going to try to get Black European Americans to overthrow Trump, keep Black Americans off to the side, and then go get him out, then put Harris in and go, whew, that was a close one, and start and continue the same shit. And nothing will change. That's what the setup is right now. That can't happen either. That's the main reason they're trying to stop me. They think they can, or pull me out just in time. They go, okay, but no, they actually know they can't, because the way Her Majesty set it up is just nothing. I either become Duke, yeah, because if it doesn't happen, then I'm dead. And then I have my brother. He thinks he's trying to help. He's trying to help me, trying not to get me killed, but his help is actually about to get me killed. I have to go up or out, or I'm dead. And if I'm dead, know the Constitution has been overthrown. Fully. If I do not accomplish the goal that was set out to me by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the Constitution is no more. And you've lost your country. We've lost our country, but I'll be dead, so that's the reason I say your country. I've seen so many other states, and I really do love this country. It is amazing. But these bigots need to be put down. They're not Christian. And no, I'm not letting the Mohammedans or now the homosexual faggots try to take over either. That's just a bunch of BS as well. If America is an idea, it's going to have to be that idea. And the idea of it just being, quote, white, well, you lost that when you overthrew the Constitution. So if we're going to put it back together, we're going to make sure that's expanded, because the idea is bigger than any one person. And that dark enlightenment crap got to go bye-bye, and then the white Christian nationalist crap got to go bye-bye, and the Mohammedanians, second Mecca, and the way they behaved, that got to, during when the Jews took them in, that got to go bye-bye. And then Hindus with all their freaking caste system thing behaving. You could think those things, but the rule of law is the rule of law and will be applied equally. And no, you're not getting away. Well, this is my religion. I'm supposed to get the hell out of here. You're going to treat, if we want to say we're a Christian nation, then the law was simple. Love your neighbor as yourself. Treat your neighbor as you'd want to be treated. And if you say, oh, I don't want somebody to tell me what to do, then you're full of crap. So that's what all these religions end up doing. Psychopaths take them over. And demons start feeding off of fear, hate, and shame. We are at a new age of humanity. We'll either be dystopian or utopian, or work towards a utopian. And everyone has a different idea of what that is. But we're pretty sure we know what dystopian is, regardless. Anyways, it's time to make a better world. No Kings on the 18th of October 2025. Drumpf is setting up to try to initiate martial law on that day, or over the next coming months. He forgets we own this country, not him. I'll see you.